your desire to be with somebody is not an indication that you should be. In relationships, one of the most abusive things that you can get into is what we call an intermittent reinforcement pattern. And it's one of the primary dynamics that's at play when people are staying in unhealthy relationships for themselves. So in order to understand the intermittent reinforcement pattern, we have to look at these studies that were done on animals. Let me explain how this goes. You've got a whole bunch of scientists that are there studying these mice and rats. And what they did is they gave them a little lever, and these food pellets would drop out whenever the mouse or the rat touched the lever. So they started to get curious about, I wonder what would happen if we made it like the rat is not able to get any pellets. The rats that had learned, oh, I push this lever, I get a pellet. Now all of a sudden they push the lever, they don't get a pellet. Now enough of that pattern being standard, and these mice or rats lost interest. Surprise, surprise. So then they get curious again, like scientists do, and they decided we're gonna make this sporadic, meaning there's no predictable pattern. So what happens is the mice or the rat push that lever, and then occasionally, whenever, who the hell knows, a pellet will come out. Now, what happens completely shocked them because they thought at first this was going to be so frustrating for these animals that they were going to give up entirely. And the exact opposite happened. What they found is when a person or an animal or anything cannot predict a pattern, it creates an absolute obsession because it hooks into the dopamine centers in the brain. So the intermittent reinforcement patterns is exactly why you see those gamble machines in Vegas working so well. And in an abusive style relationship, and it doesn't even need to be intentional, this is the reality. Like some people, they find it very difficult to consistently give. And so one minute they'll give, the next minute they won't, the next 2 times they will, the next 3 times they won't, who the hell knows, right? We can set up this very unhealthy intermittent reinforcement pattern in relationships, and it honestly creates a mental illness. I mean, it literally turns people's worlds upside down because it creates an addictive pattern whereby the amount of personal strength that it takes to pull yourself off of that thing is crazy. I mean, when they were doing these studies with these mice, they were losing hair, they were not eating. They had to stop the studies, quite frankly. They were like, wow, okay, well, now we understand a lot more about intermittent reinforcement patterns, right?